People of any and all variety that are watching this video today, I want to talk about the idea of a dopamine detox and how you can use it to reclaim your life. And before I get into the details, I just want to put out two disclaimers. One, you'll see a lot of videos like this on the internet, dopamine detox, this and that, right? And in these videos, you'll see multiple irrelevant clips, all these effects, transitions of the camera going in and out, which are contributing to the problem of dopaminergic activities. And so this video will be as raw as possible. I don't want to do all those edits. I don't want to contribute to the problem. And so if you're able to get through this whole video, know that you can also use a detox to put your life on a better path. Second one, some of the things that I will say in this video will sound crazy, but they only sound crazy given the current state of mind that you're in. After you hear these things and actually if you apply them to your life, you'll realize with time, after you get to the successful side of doing these things, you realize that everything that you thought was crazy wasn't crazy at all. It all actually was logical, rational, and it made sense. And now you understand why your life is a lot better on this side. And so first, most people think that they lack the knowledge, the skill, or the ability, right, to complete whatever task that they want, whether it's to get rich, start a business, complete their schoolwork, get fit, any of these things, right? All of these things are doable and it's possible. Another human has done it, so you are able to do it as well, right? And they might even believe that they're missing energy. That is just not the case. If you would think like this, then I have to tell you you're wrong, right? What you actually are missing is time and focus. And once you have enough time and focus in any given project, you'll be able to complete it. One, most people actually don't believe they have enough time because within the day, but everybody has the same 24 hours. If you commit a certain amount of time per day to a certain project and you're focused on the project, the time will allow you to actually do it and the focus will let you get progress. Because if say you're doing a task and you have no focus, right? You're just doing it, then you start getting distracted, you start doing your laundry, then you start listening to a music video, then you turn on a podcast, you start scrolling through your phone. You'll never go into a deep state or deep flow of work to actually get a lot done. Because even then when you're writing a paper, you don't write one sentence at a time, you write paragraphs, pages, and that's when it actually moves the needle of getting it completed, right? So you need to get into a focused state to get a lot of flow out of the work so you can actually complete it. So how do you cultivate focus and how do you create more time in your day? And that's when the idea of the dopamine detox comes in. So what most people do when they need to complete activities, they have multiple screens, they have a YouTube video, like a music video in the background, they have their phone right by their side, all these notifications coming in and out. This is what you don't want to do, right? This is what keeps normal people normal. And it has them always procrastinating, never on the pathway to success. What you need to do is reset your dopamine levels. And you can do this over a period of 7 days. I suggest going a little bit longer, but the 7 days is a good benchmark just to start, just to see how it affects you. Because within the 7 days, you will see differences, you will see an impact, you will see the benefits. And so there are 4 pillars that you need to actually focus and dial yourself into. The first one is, I would say just to start off, say only 1 hour of screen time. So on your phone, you're able to check how much time you spend on your screen. You want to limit it to 1 hour a day. And me personally, the best way for me to do this was to cut out social media. Now, this is the more drastic things you can do that I said was gonna be crazy in the beginning. I did this because I found that every time I would check my screen time at the end of my day, I would see that the most time I would spend on the apps was social media, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, right? And so I thought, if I just cut these things out, wouldn't it be easier for me to have very low screen time? And when I went on vacation, I remember telling myself, don't go on any social media because I just want to enjoy my vacation while I'm here. I don't want to waste time in my hotel room just scrolling or whatever. And with that week that I didn't use any social media, I was also really happy. And I noticed that I didn't use my screen time. It was like less than 30 minutes a day just to talk on the phone or just write some notes or take pictures or whatever, right? And so because I remember doing that, I applied. I said, you know what? Let me just cut out social media. Let me do it for a week. Let me see what happens. And my screen time diminished. What you can do if you don't want to cut out social media because maybe you need it for your job or you just really need it for some reason that probably doesn't even make that much sense, but just to start off, limit yourself to 1 hour of screen time. As soon as it hits the hour, stop using your phone. Second, no content. You can start off with cutting out the biggest form of content consumption that you do, whether that's Netflix, YouTube, TikTok, right? Just cut just for 1 week to stop, right? Stop watching that Netflix show, stop scrolling on TikTok every day, stop watching all the YouTube recommendations they give you, right? You stop it for 1 week. Eventually you will realize how much more time you're saving, how much more benefit that you're getting out of being able to actually focus, not using YouTube, not putting Netflix on in the background or whatever, this and that. Again, you could just start out with just cutting out the one thing, and eventually, if like I said, 1 hour screen time, eventually try cutting out social media, because it's typically the biggest or most used thing on your phone, I would assume, or whatever it is that you're consuming a lot of that's very stimulating and dopaminergic. Second would be cutting out content. First, again, to start off with YouTube, TikTok, whatever the hardest thing is that you spend, or whatever thing that you spend the most time on, that's what you should cut out first. So I used to watch a lot of YouTube, I used to watch a lot of Twitch, and I said, you know what, at one point I was like, I'm spending way too, I remember spending like 8 to 10 hours scrolling on TikTok. I spent 8 to 10 hours on Twitch watching people live streams. I used to watch seasons of Netflix in a day, and I knew it was just a bad thing. You never feel good after either. You just think, damn, like, what did I just spend my whole day doing? All I did was just consume content. I didn't better my life in any sort of way. So really understand which path you actually want to go on. Do you actually want the success? Do you actually want to achieve your goals in life? Or do you want to just sit here and consume content and then consume more content and consume? Because once you consume a little, you consume a lot. Always. Like, you don't ever just watch one episode of Netflix. You end up consuming multiple. You don't ever just watch one YouTube video. You always go down the rabbit hole. So that's why you need to just cut it out in the beginning, so you don't ever go into that like rapid succession of more and more and more. Third, this is especially for my guys that are out there watching. Maybe for girls too. I wouldn't. Some of them maybe. No adult film content, right? But that doesn't just mean, the websites that are dedicated to this. Also means, the really tailored, personalized OF accounts that you're subscribed to. If you're doing that, you need to stop this. I understand why you do it, but you need to cut it out. Not only is it causing you financially, but so much time, so much focus, so much energy is going towards it. So cut it out. You need to figure out how to cut it out. And along with not using the websites, not subscribing to these accounts, you need to also limit yourself from your view of them on social media. All these like Instagram baddies, TikTok baddies, or whatever you want to call them, right? They aren't your friends, they aren't your connection, they don't know you. You following them has nothing to do with anything. You're essentially just trying to please yourself just by looking at them. Like, it makes no sense to do this. Unfollow them, stop watching their content. If you see on your TikTok, press, I don't want to view content like this, or something like, just remove it from your feed as fast as you can, because it's just a bad distraction. It's costing you energy, time, and even money in the end. And essentially, unless you block them from unless you block the content from seeing, you will always see the content. You will always see it, because what these people are doing, especially in this day and age where these girls are realizing that they can make a living off making an OF or whatever, they have to market or promote themselves through TikTok, through Instagram, through Twitter. And so what do? They post provocatively, and then what do you end up doing? Going to their site, subscribing, and that's how they make money. So they will continuously pump out content forever. And you need to be actively being like, okay, I don't want to watch this, I don't want to see it. Then make sure that the algorithm understand that you don't want to see it, or they're going to consistently push it out. Especially to my guys, it's very, very distracting. You don't want this distraction. You need to cultivate focus, and you need to get your time back. Last thing is 10 minutes of meditation. This one is a little bit of a struggle, but it helps you relax. It helps you get into this helps you relax. This helps you get into a clear mind. This helps you have clarity. You're able to make decisions, and it gives you the ability to just sit down and do nothing. And once you're okay with doing nothing, you realize, okay, you know what? I don't need to be constantly distracted. I don't need to be constantly stimulated. I can just sit here and breathe. I can just sit here and relax. I can sit here and put my mind at ease. And once you're in that state of mind, it's so much easier to go on to do the next thing, especially because we understand, based on the research into dopamine. If you ever watch an Andrew Huberman video, he talked about dopamine is compared to the last thing you did. So if you do a very high dopamine activity, the next thing, unless it's higher than that one, it will naturally be lower, right? So if you eat a chocolate cake, which is very, not super highly dopaminergic, but has a good amount of dopamine, and then you try to go for a walk, that walk is going to be very boring. It's not going to stimulate you enough, because a walk naturally is a low stimulating activity, a low dopamine activity, while eating chocolate cake is very exciting. It's junk food, it's easy, it feels good, it tastes good, right? So if it always stacks, and now the next thing you do after the walk can most likely will be more dopaminergic, but you're just going to aim to do something highly dopaminergic because you felt so lowly stimulated from the walk. And so you need to, that's why another really important thing to do is waking up in the morning and doing the hardest tasks first, because if it's hard, it's most likely not going to be very stimulating, but after you sleep, anything is stimulating, right? Because you were sleeping. Nonetheless, the whole point of this dopamine detox is to reset your dopamine levels. We have a baseline of dopamine, and every time you go above it, you need to come below it to come back to baseline. So if you go up 2, you need to come down to -2 before you come to 0, right? That's how it works, right? It just keeps going up and down. So the higher the dopamine activity, the lower your will come down. So if you do something very highly dopaminergic, like drugs or sex or any of these really highly dopamine activities, you will come really high, and that's why you'll come and you'll come really low until you come back to baseline. And that's when it resets, and now you're at a regular level. And that's why people will talk about this idea of like post-nut clarity or post-nut depression or whatever they want to say. It's not a real thing. It's just you coming below baseline to regulate your dopamine levels. So the dopamine detox completely puts you at baseline, and there are theories that pushes your baseline higher so you're able to do more boring activities for a longer period of time, which I would agree with based on my own personal experience. But I'm just telling you, if you are able to do this dopamine detox for 7 days, take it. Do it for the 7 days, and after the 7 days, see the things that helped you improve your life the most. Was it the reduced screen time? Was it not consuming content? Was it not being distracted by all this noise and social media and all these, sexual distractions? What really moved the needle for you? What gave you the most time? What allowed you to be the most amount of focus? Use those in what I call our daily inputs. There are certain things that I took from my dopamine detox and I implemented them into my daily lifestyle because I liked how they made me feel. I don't like using my phone in the morning. I don't like using social media anymore. I like fasting until 1 o'clock, not eating any food because my brain feels clear. Like, you will see a bunch of different things, try different things just to do the dopamine detox. And then after you do it, implement the things in your daily lifestyle. And then you can slowly add more and more things. You can do research. I can make a video on that. Talk about, if you complete the 7 days, talk about your experience in the comments. I'm going to read it. If you want any help, suggestions, I'll gladly help anyone, right? Do the detox, carve your path to success, and in the end, you're going to win. We're all going to win.